Hey, welcome to the first edition of Faith Up. I'm Coach Q. Excited for today. Going to launch off in Faith Up. Stories that encourage you, build your faith up, grow you in your walk with God. So what better way to start sometimes than just telling your story? The truth is we overcome by the power of our stories, the testimony of our stories. It builds us up. It moves us forward. So I thought I'd start by sharing my personal story of how I came to faith. And I'll pick it up actually right out of college. So out of college, I graduated Davidson College many years ago. Graduated honors, had a pretty good college career, ended up being an all-conference performer, had the distinct honor of being able to play in NBA pre-draft camps and having a chance to try out for the NBA. And it was good, right? And so athletic, smart, talented, definitely personable, had a lot going for me on the outside. And I will say on the outside. Things look good. On the inside, a lot different. So if you looked on the outside, it was like driving this shiny new Camaro, which I did have, which was cool. But the inside, me, was more like a 69 Plymouth that had just been through 10 kids raised, torn, tattered, just beat up, right? Wasn't even aware of it, but a lot of insecurities, resentments, self-centeredness. There was restlessness, uneasiness inside. There was a host of insecurities that wasn't aware of and really didn't want to deal with either. So it's kind of like social media, like it's your Facebook, right? Here I am on Instagram, and then boom, man, what's really going on was quite different. So that was my story. Here's one way I want to look, but here's what was really going on inside. And so about that time, I was playing basketball in Omaha, Nebraska. So Omaha, Nebraska is colder than a witch's nose. And I was cold as well too, right? I was cold sitting on the bench and really cold inside, just kind of disconnected. And so there was things I was struggling with, that I wrestled with. I didn't really have a great definition of like manhood. To me, manhood was like sports, athletics, the girl life, party life. That's what it was about. I definitely have a strained family life growing up. Source of like frustration, resentments. I had a dad who amazing today, but at the moment he was worked hard and drank harder. So was really an absentee father, just emotionally, relationshipally, let's say disconnected. And so I was pissed. I was frustrated with the family and my father. And so when I went to Omaha, I was like, here's the bird, I'm out, right? They just don't tell you that when you take that pill, that pill, I call it bitterness. They don't tell you the symptoms of it. It's kind of like the drugs you see on TV, like, hey, here's this wonder drug. And then it gives you like 18 different side effects. I didn't realize the amount of bitterness and the side effects of what was coming out of me. And I didn't even realize, I did realize some of the destructive behaviors that were trying to cover it up, trying to mask up that drug. So there I was in Omaha, and man, I got a lifeline. There's a roommate, a teammate, on the team who came through, Ronnie Grandison, great brother. He was from a challenged background too. He came from the place of Compton, but he walked so differently. There was something about him. I didn't know many Christians at the time. In fact, I don't know if I knew any. And God was such a forethought. It wasn't even on my mind, but he became strong at building relationship with me. And I remember one day in a hotel room before a shoot around, he looks at me and he says, hey, Quinn, where are you at with your relationship with Jesus? And I said, well, I'm just trying to figure life out. There's a lot of things I got to put together. I kind of can get to that later in life, It felt like the right answer. I really had no thought about God. And he said, hey, look, you get your life right with Jesus first, and everything else will fall into place. Well, sometimes we're awakened, in life, something hits us like a thud, and that hit me like a hammer. Like, it was like, maybe I'm not going about life the right way. Maybe I'm chasing the wrong direction. And so that kind of sparked. It was kind of like Inception, if you like that movie. And I said, man, I need to start seeking this out. I need to find out what I really believe. So I did. I started researching, learning. And through that process over a couple months, I came to the conclusion, right? Jesus was real. He was a real person. He was legit. His story was documented. he could be verified like in court that he rose from the dead. That's undeniable. He's still like impacting people's lives 2,000 years later. And when I looked at all the facts, I just had a choice. Either I was going to believe in his message and that he was the Son of God and trust him, or I wasn't. Best choice I made. Best choice in life I've made. I decided to start walking by faith and taking risk in that relationship. And then I remember, fast forward about a month into this journey, coach, sometimes I call God, he's a tough coach sometimes. Coach said, hey, I forgave you, and boy, did I need forgiveness. And he said, what about your dad? I was like, Coach, do we need to talk about that right now? And he's like, yeah. I said, okay. So I took the steps of faith, and I said, I need to reach out and try to connect with my dad. So I drove down to Myrtle Beach. He was out there hanging out with his friends. We lived in Virginia at the time. And I sat down with him, really expressed for the first time ever how I felt growing up. And then I told him I loved him and that I wanted a relationship with him. It was the second time in my life that I'd seen my dad have tears in his eyes. And that started a journey. And it's been over 20 years, and the relationship with my father has blossomed and grown. Couldn't be more thankful. But that's not the real miracle. The real miracle is what happened when I drove home from South Carolina to Virginia. I was still in my mood, my music, had Pearl Jam, NWA, Snoop Dogg. Long before they said defund the police, man, I had a message what we'd say to the police. So there was a lot of rage and resentment in the music, right? But I decided to put in a Christian tape someone gave me. I didn't know much about Christian music, but give it a shot. And there's a song in there that said, I could sing of your love forever. And I'm 6'9", that Camaro's not that big, but as I sang, God literally filled that car. When I say God filled it, it was this place of joy, of love, of freedom that just overcame me. It was like taking these 5 gorillas that I didn't even know really existed, and they were just lifted off my back. And I just remember stepping out of the car and saying, I'm a free man. Like, I feel joy, I feel love. And when I experienced that power, I was sold out. I'm like, I'm going to follow you, Coach. I'm in. I'm on the team. Put me in. And what I noticed is that really gave me empowerment to really go be the best I could be, to kind of reach my potential. And it's been a journey. But it's a story about God's love through forgiveness and just destroying that pill of bitterness that I'd swallowed that changed my life. And I still have to make that choice today. So that's my story. I hope it encourages you. I hope that builds your faith. And when I say build your faith, I hope you take steps of faith. I hope you take risk. Like, play offense, take risk. And I'll challenge you to share your story. Put your story on video. It's the first time I videoed my story. 20-something years later, get your story on video, share it to your family, your friends. It'll build your faith up, and maybe it'll inspire them to share their story. So that's Faith Up. And look, it is always growth time, baby. So let's grow our faith.